So what I will show today is how to take an existing site. You're looking at one. This is one of the Look v2 sites. And I will convert this one into a template. So you can apply it to your own tenant. So what I do when I start with this is I have a brief look at what is the site about? What are we looking at? So when I notice a couple of things here, is that like we have a menu here at the top, and then my next question is there like, for instance, a footer? So I scroll all the way down, and yes, there is a footer here. So that's important to know. It's obviously a modern site. There's a bunch of web parts here. We have a vertical section. I'm just scrolling down through the page if I see something that jumps out to me, and right now there's just a bunch of web parts here, some text here and there. So the next step I'll take is that I go to my to the site contents. And that is interesting for me because there I see which lists are there. And if there actually are items in those lists, you see that conveniently at this page. And that means that I can actually limit what I extract from this site to those lists only. The rest are of no interest for me. So you see here, there's like 5 documents, there's a bunch of site assets. We have 2 events here, we have 8 site pages. So those are the things that are of interest for me to start to export. Now, in the last release we did this month, the latest release, we introduced, and if you attended the last community call, we introduced a configuration option for the extracting of a template. And that I will use today to limit the content of this template that I'm extracting. So I'm using obviously PowerShell. And what I did already is I created a folder and I connected already with PowerShell with Connect PnP Online to this specific site here. And what I did, I created a JSON file, an extract configuration file. And I realized this is totally undocumented right now. This will come, but if you're interested on how you use this file, just rewatch the video, the recording of this session. It should get you up and running. So if we open this configuration file, which is containing a lot of squigglies and boring brackets, go here, then you see that we actually follow, and if you carefully watch, and if you're new to JSON, if you listen to the session from Chris, then you should totally understand what you're looking at right now here. So here we have a schema. If I look here, so we have actually officially a schema now located on developer.microsoft.com, which describes this configuration file. So what I first tell the engine is what should it actually parse? What should it actually start to extract? And I wanted to extract lists, pages, navigation, site footer, site header, and web settings. You can add more items to it. Because of the schema behind it, we have all the options for you listed just to pick from. So then for some of the things that we're exporting, you can actually make specific settings. For instance, for the site footer here, we can tell it to flip the switch remove existing nodes in the extracted template to true. It will not remove the nodes from the site that you're extracting from. It will just, in the template that we create, flip that switch to true, meaning that if you apply the template to an existing site, we will first clear out the navigation of the footer. Then, if we go to the pages, I say, okay, listen, for instance, you're extracting a template from a specific tenant and you want to apply that template to another tenant. It's very often that the users are not present on the other tenant. So what we're saying here is, okay, clear out the author information where we can find it in the modern pages. So for instance, web parts sometimes have references to authors. Pages itself has a reference to an author. So clear that value out. So remove all those usernames. And we're also telling it, the engine, to include all client-side pages, not just the home page, which is the default behavior, but just say, give me all client-side pages. The same thing that I applied for the site footer, removing the nodes, we also set for navigation. And then I'm limiting what I will export when it comes to lists. Now, for instance, I say, okay, export the events list, but include all the items that you find in that list. When you create data rows, skip the empty fields that have no value. Just don't put them in the resulted template. We don't need them. And then I can actually apply a specific query to that list when I extract that information. And I say, I only want the title, category, location, etc. fields. Then if I scroll a bit down here, say, okay, give me the documents. Give me all the documents from the document library, include the items and include the attachments. So download the attachments. Now you can set the page size here. You don't necessarily have to do that, but this is just for performance reasons. If you have like thousands of documents, you don't want to query all 1,000 documents in one go. You want to do it page by page by page by page. And the page size you can define here. But I have set it now to 10. So this is my configuration. Very important is that you also flip the persist asset files to true. If you set this one to true, we will try to extract images from the modern pages and add them to your template. So this is the configuration file. So if I now go to PowerShell, and it's a weird thing with the latest version of code, but if I go to PowerShell now and say get PNP provisioning template, output to an XML file, and I say configuration, extract configuration, and I press enter and sit back and relax. And what it will do now is the typical extraction process. It will go through all the artifacts it finds. It will actually go through the document. So if in the meantime I open my file explorer and navigate to that folder, you don't see that I do it on a different screen. There's the demo folder, demo, the landing. And it's a bit small, maybe it's a bit hard to see, but you see there's now already a shared documents folder here. And there's a subfolder in there. And there we have the documents it's actually currently downloading from the server or from your site. So if we continue, you see now the site assets popping up here. And there we have the assets for the site pages. And there's a home page and images are coming down now and are being extracted to the file system. So all the content that is that we find in that site, in the lists and in the client-side pages, are being saved to the file system. So it will take a bit longer. We're still working here. So what I did then is I created a template of a tenant template. And that's here. And this basically, I took an existing tenant template, and I just removed a lot of things and cleaned it up a bit. And this tenant template, if you want to find one of those, you can find them in our repos. There's where we have the lookbook templates located. There you can find these tenant templates. So if I open this one with Visual Studio, because I want schema support, there we go. This is my base template, and there are some things missing here. So for instance, here the template is empty. So what I do now is if I open that other the template that has been recently extracted, let me get my thing here, there, and we say, there is my template. So I say get contents site XML to the clipboard. There, and I paste that in. And there we have my template located. Now there's a bit of things around it. You see here some duplicate things that you have to take away. So we take the XML away, provisioning, templates. This one go away, and now we scroll down. And we have to clean up a bit more here. That one goes. And this should do it, I think. And it's complaining about white space there. So I saw some red thing here. That's interesting. I don't know why this is actually failing. It could be of the build I'm using with the schema behind the scenes. Okay, doesn't matter that much. So here we have the template. And this is a tenant template, and you see the preferences here, and I have some things that are relevant in my case, the site title, which is going to be, in this case, my site, and the site URL / sites, my URL. And here we have the sequence. And the sequence is that element in the template that actually creates the site collection for you. So it's creating a communication site, and it picks the topic site design to create a communication site. And you see here the title is being set to the this parameter, the site title. If we scroll a bit to the right, then we see here the description is empty. The URL is being set to the value of the site URL parameter. It's not a hub site, and we use the current user login name as the owner, the current user that is running the commandlet. And here we have the template it's running. And you see here provisioning template references main template. And what this means is that when we create the site collection, after the site collection has been created, we apply this template that should be in this file. And in this case, the template is called like this. So I replace this one with main template. So now the engine knows which template to apply. And if we scroll down into this template and collapse a few things, you see here all the files, for instance, all the references to the files are there with the correct target location. So we have the documents, we have the images there, we have the client-side pages here, we have all the things here. And let me double check here because I think I might see an issue. Yeah, okay, there we go. So schema of my tenant template was wrong. It was 03, I flipped it now to 09, and now there should not be any references anymore that are failing. No, all good now. All is green, all is not green actually. So if I save this tenant template, so now I have a tenant template that I could actually apply to my tenant if I wanted to test it. But I want to grab this all together and make it a single file. So I want all the files, the shared documents, the site assets, and the tenant template file into one single PNP file. So what I do then is I read it into a variable. I say read PNP tenant template. And I specify the tenant template. And there we go. So if I just, for the PowerShell way, I can have, okay, so we have a template here with all properties. And if I want, I could start to tweak things here and add things, but all with code if you want to. But we don't want that. We just want to save this as a PNP file. So I say now save PNP tenant template out. And this will the landing.pnp template, that variable that I just put my template in there, and press enter. And there we go. And now the result is a PNP file with all the files in there. And you see, it's actually a pretty big one because there's a lot of images there, and some of the images are actually very large. So now I could actually apply this template. So if I say, if I connect to my root of my tenants, and remember, in the template itself, if you look up here, the URL by default will be my URL, /site/ my URL. But what I can do also is I say apply PNP tenant template, and then I say the landing, the land PNP, and then I say parameters, and say site URL equals sites the result. And I took a wrong parameter here. It's not template. There we go. Now it executes the sequence and it starts to creating the communication site. You see it creating at the result. And that should take a few seconds. And there we go. So now I can already navigate to the result. There is the communication site that we just created, and it's starting to apply now. So if I see the site comes for list events, so if I go here to my site contents, see this, the home page is there, so events is there, but there's 0 items in there. So I reload this a few times. Very nervously click reload.
On this one, just a word of a warning. If you do this to sites which you create for a lot, it might actually cause the template to which is applied to be failed, right, Erwin? So if you go to the front page of the site and keep on refreshing and waiting that to get modified, it might actually cause the site the template apply to fail.
Right, right, yeah. And there's another thing I have to mention. If you have a hub site navigation, if you create a hub site navigation in the tenant template or in a template, and you might see that the navigation has not been updated. And then you're like, okay, what's happening here? You click on edit, and then you see that the whole navigation structure that you just applied is actually there. And then if you click on cancel to not edit the actual navigation, then you'll notice that the navigation has been updated. The way around this is to resist opening the site before the engine has been finished provisioning your template. It has to do with caching. So if you do not go to the site before the site has been fully provisioned and then navigate to the site, you will notice that the help site navigation is just there normally without any problem. So we're going nicely on here. So if I go to my site contents, let's see if there's already some data there. You see the site assets coming in. See the 5 documents, they're already there. So slowly and surely, now it's creating the pages, and the pages is a multi-phase process. It first creates the pages, and then it goes into each page and updates it. So there we go.
Sorry, Erwin, I'm just messing up your demo here, jumping between, like I always do. So now that you're doing this, while we're waiting to apply to actually happen, can you pinpoint where would we have example templates which people can actually test and see?
Yes, I can. That's github.com SharePoint SP dev provisioning templates. This repo, you'll find a tenant folder, and here you find all the templates in there. And for instance, the one that I just used and the site I extracted the templates from, you find a fully packaged version here in the landing folder, for instance.
And for those who are wondering, these are the templates which will be coming up pretty soon, obviously in Ignite timeframe, through different services and exposed for you to be available also from UIs. But the templates themselves, they do exist already.
Yeah, yes. And every template has a fixed structure. So for information, here you find the PNP file. If you go into the source folder, you'll find the actual XML version with all the assets that is needed for that specific template. So let's see where this one is. It's done running. So let's hope this, if I reload this page now, let me see the content. We see there's 2 events, there are 8 site pages, 5 documents, etc. And if I go to my site, there we go. Now, what I didn't do is I modified the theme. So you see it gets the default theme. There's a bit of a problem with the current APIs. We cannot extract an existing theme from a modern theme from a site. So I want to show you how you can actually extract a theme from your tenant. That's the last thing I will show you today. So if you go to change the look and you go to theme, you can pick one of the themes that are provisioned to your tenant. Say, I want to, instead of using a tenant scoped theme, I want a theme that is specific to this site collection. What you can do is take an existing tenant theme, like Composer Team theme, for instance here, and extract that one. So if you can, you go to PowerShell again, you say get PNP tenant theme. And if you just enter this as is, it will enumerate all the themes from your tenant. And it was the Composer Team theme that I wanted. So what I do then is name Composer theme. There we go. And this one has a palette property. There we go. And it's just a list of value, key value. So what I can do now is say convert to JSON, and I get a JSON version. I clip that into my clipboard, copy that to my clipboard. Then I go to my template. I go to my provisioning template. I say PNP theme name. It's a required parameter. We just leave it empty. It doesn't require any name, and we paste this in, and that's it. And this is how you create your add your theme to your template and to your site. And from now on, you just repackage the PNP file by reading the template, saving the template as a PNP file, and the result is that you did actually a full round trip, and all the web parts that were in the original are now still there, and everything is over and works as is. Let me see some images here that failed for some reason. I would have to check that. But as I said, I run a tiny bit newer version of the engine where some modifications have been made here. So, but this is the idea behind it. And that's my story for today.
Excellent work, Erwin. Really great to see the steps, and this is going to be obviously a reference video for doing these things.